Looking at the performance of Enyimba and other Nigerian club sides, it's really, really sad when it feels like we cannot even qualify or even compete properly for these continental tournaments.
I agree with you. It's actually pretty sad. Do I call it a celebration or what it is that came with the fact that Enyimba finishing third means that we get to keep our 4 slots on the continent? I mean, I was seeing the news, although I'd already known that because I'd done a research on that earlier in the season. And at this point, I really do ask, do we deserve the slots anymore? One of the reasons I particularly wasn't so excited about this particular NPFL season was the fact and the way our teams got knocked out of the continent. Every season, there's that jostle, there's that struggle to make it to the continent, to qualify for the CAF Champions League, to qualify for the CAF Confederation Cup, to win the Nigerian FA Cup, the Nigerian Federation Cup, or whatever it is being called now, and qualify, play on the continent. In fact, we would start the season with, if not 15 of our teams, their aim is to qualify for the continent. Even those that very well know their aim should be to at least stay in the league. They also want to qualify for the continent. They want to go represent Nigeria. But at the end of the day, what comes out of all of these things? And it's really annoying because it seems like Enyimba, it seems like Remo Stars, the top teams in the nation right now, can't make it into the later stages of the CAF Confederation Cup and the CAF Champions League. It's actually pathetic, you know, really annoying. And that we have these situations over and over and over again. It's really, really annoying when we get to see these things. Enyimba got to this stage by getting a bye to the next round of the competition and then get into the group stage. I mean, there also has been that case where Enyimba possibly wouldn't have even played in this competition's group stage if they had played the first round before the second round that they got a bye into. It's actually really annoying. I cannot lie. There's no reason why Enyimba shouldn't be matching the likes of Zamalek, who they played, who they lost 3-1 to. Enyimba already had got into this precarious position by putting themselves in a position where they couldn't win certain matches in Uyo, Nigeria's home ground for this competition. Yes, I mean, they would say they did not play in Aba, but whose fault was it that we couldn't get our stadiums to top par priorities and top par levels where CAF would have approved and say, yes, do play your home ground? Rivers United some seasons ago, I mean, it was the same, wasn't it the same Uyo? But here Enyimba are supposedly our biggest team in the country, supposedly one of the heavyweights in the continent, struggling to make the semi-finals and the quarterfinals of a CAF Confederations Cup. Enyimba should be a CAF Champions League team. Confederations Cup. It's actually annoying, really annoying. And at this point, I'm really left with one question. Do we really deserve to keep our 4 slots on the continent? We need our teams to not qualify for the continent so they know how serious it is to qualify. Maybe when we get to that stage, we'll really understand how serious this situation we really do get ourselves into is.
All right, we've got Robert Olimene also joining us, and I'm sure he will share his own thoughts on Nigeria's performance. Yes, Robert, do we really deserve to keep 4 continental slots for next season's CAF club engagements? Do we really deserve that?
Good afternoon to you. It's good to be on the show once again. I think if we are to be honest with ourselves, we don't deserve it. And I would say that luck has been on our side for a very long time. Going into that match yesterday, we knew that our hopes were not in our hands because they were hanging on the shoulders of the Malians. And the Malians also decided to do us a very, very good solid by not doing well in the tournament, which more or less have pushed our coefficient by 0.5 better than theirs. And that was more or less what helped us to secure still the 4 slots that we have. Going by what I saw yesterday, I think we are not serious enough. If we are to call a spade, we are not serious enough. The top goal scored by Zamalek yesterday was more or less what the popular English commentator would call a walk in the park. Look at how Jaziri almost just walked through that defense to score the top goal yesterday. Look at that. howler from the goalkeeper. And you ask yourself, what is the mindset of the players going into tournaments like this? Even if you're not doing it for Nigeria, do it for the badge, do it for the club that you represent. You can't have this kind of performance on the continent in a must-win game. I saw a lot of stories last week. I will not call names at this point in time, but one of the players for Enyimba came out saying that they needed to do a couple of things for them to win that game in Egypt. And I just laughed. And that is one thing we know how to do in Nigeria. We do the talking and do less of the playing, instead of doing more of the playing and doing less of the talking. And in this situation, when things do not go the way we expect them to go via talking, speaking of the whole lot of English, we now come back with a truckload of excuses as regards why things did not go. The man, my contemporary you have on the show, more or less killed the whole subject, saying that, well, for the fact that Enyimba are playing in Rio is of no other person's making other than that of Enyimba, because for Christ's sake, you should be getting your own stadium approved to the level where CAF can say, yes, your own stadium is fit enough for you to play. But before I round up my point, I think our performance in this year's continental tournament has been shambolic. Looking at the kind of opponents that have been more or less given to the Nigerian teams to play from the qualifying series to this very point in time. The game against Masry at home, and of course the game against Zamalek at home, should have been games Enyimba should have won, and of course I think it would have been a different conversation. But all the same, we just have to go back, according to how we say it in Nigeria, to the drawing board, and of course see how things pan out for us.
Do we still have a drawing board? If I would ask that question, because we've been going back to this drawing board and there's nothing we're drawing. We still draw up the same type of performance year in, year out on the continent, and it doesn't really speak so well. But of course, Nigeria moves up to number 12 on the table, while Mali will drop to number 13, talking about the placements now for the slots. Now, we know that the top 12 teams on the continent will produce 4 teams for continental football next season. So we have 2 for the Champions League and 2 for the CAF Confederation Cup. But I'm still asking this question for Jidechi now. What is the point? What is the point for the teams in the MPFL jostling to make sure that they grab continental tickets when you know that you have nothing to offer on the continent?
I mean, it's just like I said, if anything that really made me lose, I mean, I really have been following the league, but not at the level that I would usually have followed. And if anything that did make me lose interest, it's particularly because of how the teams have performed on the continent. And if I feel this way, sometimes I do wonder to myself, do the players even make an attempt to feel this way? Like, what really is the excitement of qualifying for the continent when you know you get knocked out in the first round? I don't know where the fix is going to come from. I think it's a grassroots thing. I think it's an entire system thing at this point. It starts from the league. It starts from how will you treat our league. And do I think the league body is doing enough? Do I think the clubs are doing enough? Do we really think our league is a professional league? I think that's where the problem starts from. It's not just a clubs thing. When you want a holistic change to a situation, it starts from digging from the surface and treating everything from the ground up. And I think that's where it starts from. So somehow, as much as, yes, the clubs are at the end of the bargain, it somehow starts from the league organizing. It somehow starts from how the Nigerian league is currently being run. And I think it's something that really needs to be fixed. I don't know when it can be fixed, because this has been going on for the longest possible time. Aside from Rivers United that made the semifinals of the competition some 2-3 years ago, the last time we had a Nigerian team that got into the semi-finals or even the finals of a CAF Champions League or CAF Confederation Cup was as far back as, I think, 2014. There was the one of Sunshine Stars, and then before that, there was the case of Heartland and Canopilas. It's been a long time ago, and it's really annoying at this point. So there really is nothing I think I'm going to say right now that would change what would happen at the end of this season. Even if Remo Stars, I mean, I was expecting a lot from Remo Stars. They are experienced. They have experienced. They have an experienced tactician. Fidelis Chukwu of Rangers is not somebody who you say is a schoolboy in the game of coaching. Do you want to talk about Stanley Eguma, who, I mean, he was just thrown into the deep end, credits to him. He was thrown into the deep end, and to be fair to him, he was the last manager that really did perform with Rivers United. But then again, we have decent managers on the home scene that one should be expecting should be competing on the level of these other clubs from the other parts of Africa. Yeah. What really is the reason? So I really do think it's an entire system change. We need to really take a look at our league and fix it in such a way it's a professional league that can compete on the level. Do we want to say we do not have talents in Nigeria? Come on, we do have talents in this country. So when you look at it, this is when you look at something that you want to be left to say, is it now a spiritual problem? Because it's actually annoying at this point. And I'm really not excited for this season, because I know at the end of the season, yes, whoever wins the league, be it Rivers United, be it Remo Stars, be it Rangers, Enyimba, whoever it is that wins the league, I'm not exactly confident that when they perform on the continent, they will not be getting booted out in the first round, or say the second round, or even maybe they manage to make the group stages. I'm not even confident that they will be finishing top 2. That's how sad it is. It's actually pathetic.
Well, Robert, spiritual problem, village people chasing Nigerian clubs on the continent, or do you think that we're not just ready for the continent?
I won't go with this spiritual problem approach, because I think we need to do a whole lot. And my points are just very short. Looking at this season we are currently, I asked myself this question: how many Nigerian teams properly go through a pre-season process? The pre-season process goes beyond just playing mushroom clubs or clubs in the locality or clubs or academies. It goes about playing the kind of opponents you know you will play against on the continental level. Now, this is what I'm talking about. I would say that there was a pre-season tournament in Ikene. I won't put out the name, but I think it's a very popular pre-season tournament in Ikene. A team all the way from Sudan came to Nigeria in the mood of Al-Merik. And I was asking myself, how many times, or when was the last time a Nigerian team, or 2 or 3 Nigerian teams, or multiple Nigerian teams in this case, went outside the shores of Nigeria to play against their contemporaries around West Africa, that is for their pre-season leading to the NPFL season itself? I don't think there's an answer going back 5 years. I don't think there's an answer going back 6, 7, 8, or even 10 years. And of course, if you look at our counterparts from the northern side of Africa, look at the kind of opponents that they play against. The last FIFA Club World Cup, Al-Ahly was there, and Al-Ahly is still playing on the continent. There was a review that was conducted a couple of days ago, and Al-Ahly happens to be one of the most decorated teams in the world, not Africa now, in the world.
Robert?
So it tells you about the experience.
Robert, the audio isn't so clear. I'm sure maybe the people of Al-Ahly or the competitors in the Champions League will not let you give us good audio, but the audio isn't so clear. I think it's from the network, but we'll surely have to let you go now. But we'll definitely get your views for that maybe later on the show, or tomorrow when the show comes up on the screen again.